everywhere. This is for you.
Yes, sir. What is going on, you guys? It is your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and we back with another one. It's Philly the podcast. We live, baby. We live. You know the vibes. But yeah, you getting glasses Castro tonight. You know what I'm saying? Y'all getting old man Castro. But enough about me. You know we got Brandon right next to me, and then today we have a very special guest. Honored to have you on, my man Ryan Rothstein from The Fix. Sue me if I said it wrong. Make sure I said it right.
Nah, you're good, man.
All right,
Rothstein.
good.
Yeah, like Ace Rothstein from Casino.
Awesome. So I got it right. Awesome. What's good, infamous 2K? I already got people in here. Awesome. So yeah, we got a connection as far as the Eagles go, but other than that, you're doing your whole thing. So please, give a little introduction to yourself. Tell them what you're doing, where they can find you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So I have my show on sports betting radio down here in Atlantic City, South Jersey area, reaching basically all the way up into the Walt Whitman, Philadelphia area. That's Monday to Friday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. And that's somewhat of a new show. So I've been doing this for about 5 or 6 weeks. And it's been going well, man. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a late time slot, but it's my own show, and I do a lot of.
You gotta take what you can get, man.
Yeah, man. No, it's going well. I do a lot of live in-game reaction. I have a sports betting angle to it, and then of course I do a lot of Eagles talk, man. I have Eagles insiders on every night talking the local teams, and then also all the latest in the sports world. So it's been good. You can find me on Twitter at WiseRye, WiseRye. And that's where you can really see everything I'm putting out there. So,
and I'll definitely have all your stuff in the description for everybody to check out after. But let's get right into this, man. It's been a long week. I feel like with the Thursday, and then now we have to wait till Sunday night. It's just going to be a long week of no football, just going over the same things. And I know you probably had to hash this over a couple times, and we'll start with you, because I know, Brandon, you've said it a million times, but I just want to get your reactions to the win. The win, I want to get it 2 parts. I want to get your reaction to the win that the Eagles got, and then your reaction to the demolishing of the Cowboys that we saw.
Yeah, I mean, the win, there's a lot to react to that, because if you look at the previous 2 games, all right, you look at the Steelers loss, then you look at the Ravens loss, and it was weird. I mean, let me know how you guys feel, but everyone was somewhat optimistic, given the injuries and everything taking place. Carson Wentz starts the year with a slow start, to say the least. There's a lot of legitimate factors that you can point to as to why he started off slow. But people are kind of saying, well, the Steelers game, look at him in the fourth quarter, him being Carson. He brings the team back. They have a chance to win. You look at the Baltimore Ravens game. Everyone's talking about the 2-point conversion decision. They don't get it. They had a chance to win. Carson brought that team back against a legit Super Bowl contender. So everyone's being optimistic. You look at the Giants game, and going into that game, I said they have to start fast. They have to score early, and they have to win the turnover battle, and ideally turn over Daniel Jones early. They did both of those things, and then they bleeped the bet. They had no business winning that game. But once again, Carson Wentz was awesome in the fourth quarter. So it's like, my point is, you have 2 ugly losses where you can be positive, and then you have a team that's a dumpster fire in the Giants, and you have an amazing fourth quarter, a spectacular throw to Boston Scott, and that was really a bad win. The bottom line is it's a win. And now we have a couple extra days rest after a Thursday game to get ready for a joke of a Dallas team. But I don't know how I feel about this team. Like, in an ideal world, I wanted them to just take care of business Thursday night against the Giants. And they didn't really do that. They always have to shoot themselves in the foot. They always have to Plaxico Barris themselves in order to get a win or in order to do what's needed. It's frustrating. That's kind of how
it's kind of like you're going to Cali and you're excited when you get to Cali, but you just had the ugliest road trip getting there. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how that win was. But how are you feeling, Brandon? Because we didn't do a show after the game, so I am interested to hear how you feel.
I mean, he kind of hit the nail with it. I mean, it's tough because, yes, it's a win, and we need wins. I mean, that's the name of the game. In order to win the division, we need to get wins. But after playing games, even if you want to chalk it up to, well, you got garbage time points against like the Ravens or something, the fact of the matter is we still were able to climb back in those games and like kind of battle through adversity. So you figure after like practicing essentially against the Steelers and Ravens, we would have shown up against the Giants to make a statement. But like Ryan said, it's just like, but we're over here having to do miracles to win against a team that's decimated themselves and don't have the players at hand. Like they didn't even have Saquon. Like what would it have looked like if Saquon was on the field and they ran the ball? Like they didn't really run the ball too much. The only person that really ran was Daniel Jones, and like you said, that dude is tackling himself, running down 80 yards.
I feel like it would have looked the same, to be honest. I feel like we see the same game between the Eagles and Giants like every year. You know, it really almost doesn't. I feel like me and you could be the opposing quarterbacks at this point, and it's going to be a 23-20 game. That's just what we do almost every year. You look back last year, we were, decimated with injuries. They were obviously not a good team, and it still came down to the fourth quarter. Obviously, this year, again, coming down to the fourth quarter. Like you said, it's nice to see. You're excited that you get the win, but it's not the way that you want it to happen. This could be this is another week like that. I feel like this is another one that we might win. Well, we should win, I should say. But if we don't win in a convincing fashion, it's almost for naught. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of want to know you guys like outlook, looking at the Dallas game. What are you looking at? We have some people coming back. What are you looking at to see Sunday night versus the Cowboys?
I mean, I guess I'll start it off. You're looking, and this is the only concern is, as crazy as this sounds, the Eagles may be overlooking the Cowboys at this point, and the Eagles are in no business to be doing that to anyone, 2-4-1, but the Cowboys have Ben DiNucci right now as the starting quarterback. We'll see if Andy Dalton can play. It doesn't seem like he'll be able to, from what I've seen. So they need to get a win. In an ideal world here, they just need to take care of business and not look ugly doing it. But it is Sunday Night Football, and it is the Dallas Cowboys. So don't overlook them. I'd like to see the Eagles end up winning this game by double digits, but we'll see who they have, man. Once again, Deshaun Jackson, welcome back. See you later. That was a quick
yeah, facts.
Jalen Reagor, we'll see when he's able to come back here, and hopefully Carson can get some weapons. But Zach Ertz not around, Dallas Goedert not around. Once again, Miles Sanders, we'll see if they're going to decide to sit him out one more week or not. So there's a lot to it. But Dallas is so bad, guys, and maybe I'm overlooking it, but they're so bad. I don't even think it matters how the Eagles play. They're going to be able to come out with a win on Sunday night.
But that's almost a scary thing. Not to cut you off.
No,
I'm sorry.
You can go next. Go next.
That's almost a scary thing because it's like you don't want, like you said, you definitely don't want to overlook a team. You don't want to fall into a trap. But even if you win, you don't want to go into the bye week with kind of a lackadaisical. I don't know the word. What is it? Lackadaisical.
Complacent.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. I'll take that. I was trying to sound, But either way, you don't want to be complacent going into the bye week, and having that mindset. We have, like I said, we do like Drew Anderson said, shout out to you. We do have players finally coming back. Jalen Reagor, we have JP coming back. So, I just want to see a demolished team. I want to see the Cowboys. I feel like are throwing in the towel anyway. So I feel like it shouldn't even be close, but go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the one thing that I worry about is if our defensive line does not take advantage of this Cowboys decimated line. Like their line is just as bad as ours right now with injuries, and their best lineman was their worst lineman when everyone was starting with Connor Williams. So we need to really harass Ben DiNucci. Like, who is Ben DiNucci? If I'm worried that we're gonna end up making him look like Haskins last year, where Haskins was like tearing us apart, and we had to once again have miracles at the end of the season in order to win that game. And that's something that we cannot let happen. That defense needs to step up. The linebackers needs to step up. I've been saying this all season. Nathan Gary, he needs to prove himself. He sucks, but he needs to prove himself. Like, this is the time to do it. I said the same thing last week. He had some good plays, I guess, with the sack and his little celebration. But other than that, he was missing gaps and assignments from when I was watching it back. But it's a game that we can't overlook. At the end of the day, we are injured too. So you look at our record and it is what it is. Our record is who we are. We're not a good football team right now. Maybe once we start getting people back, we can start getting in the mix. But at the end of the day, we can't overlook a team that's just as bad as us right now. Like we need to start getting these wins. But to ask you guys, since you brought up Deshaun Jackson, earlier this week I had read that Jackson actually went to Coach Phipp and was like, yo, let me return the punt, like letting them know like he wanted to put the team on his back and try to make a big play. In that situation, would you guys have let Deshaun go out there? I mean, granted, pretend like you didn't know he was going to get hurt. Or do you figure, you know what, you are a little old and we just got you back. Should we not risk you on a play where literally you got 11 dudes sprinting at you?
Go ahead.
I'll say this much. I'll say this much. I think if you look at the pattern of the game, and Dave Phipp is a very smart man, but I feel he falls into the same trap that a lot of our coaches and our front office falls into, that they get too emotionally attached in the moment. So with that said, I feel like if you look at the pattern of that game, Greg Ward wasn't getting any punts to return. He wasn't getting any yards. It wasn't like there was yards there and he just missed it. You're kind of shooting a dart at the wall and just kind of closing your eyes and hoping that, you know, and Deshaun Jackson is a player that can make something happen. But in that situation, get the ball in Carson's hands, see what he can do, make it happen. You know, I feel like at best, maybe he gets like, 20 yards. At worst, you see what happens, and that kind of deflates your team. Luckily, we were able to, still win. But I don't know. I personally wouldn't have done it, but that's just me,
I mean, for me, if you're in pads and you're able to give it a go, that's fine. Like you can't. It's football. It was somewhat of a dirty hit there, and if he if he's going to the coach and he's saying, "Yo, I got this. Let me go out there and return it." You put him out there. I mean, that's the problem with Deshaun Jackson. The fact that that's even a legitimate question is a problem. Like, oh, should we have put him out there to return the punt because he's so injury prone and he's getting older, and his body type and the style of play that he has in order to excel, it's not a good combination, and we saw that. So I'm fine with putting him out there. He wanted to go out there. I'm fine with the coach saying, all right, go do your thing. And obviously it backfired a little bit, but I don't think you can say with hindsight, like, oh, they shouldn't have put him out there. And you can't be babying anyone with football. So I'm fine with it. I think the story is he's injured again, and it's unfortunate. I wanted to see him shine here in his return to Philadelphia, but we barely do. It sucks.
So hyped. It was so hyped to have him back, just because every time he's played us in the past, he lights us up. He gets at least 1 to 2 deep bombs almost every time. He does a little eagle celebration to kind of mock us, and then we finally get him back, and we get one good game out of 2 years from him, and it sucks.
Yeah. So, that brings up another thing to me. That makes me wonder, when we get Alshon back, what do you guys think his role will be? Do you think he will have the same role as, kind of the number one, or do you think he's lost that?
I was going to ask you guys here in the next few minutes about Travis Fulgham, because that dude's legit. And you can just see when you see a legitimate wide receiver, not just his body type, because you look at J-Jaw and you would think, looking at him, oh, J-Jaw is a receiver. And he ain't a receiver. But you look at Travis Fulgham and what he does on the field. He catches the ball in traffic. He catches the ball. He gets open. He catches the ball with guys like hanging all over him. He runs great routes. He's fast enough for his size. He can move the chains. He can go deep. So Alshon Jeffrey, he better not be replacing Travis Fulgham. And then if you have Travis Fulgham on the outside, where does Alshon really fit? And what type of Alshon are we going to be getting when he actually comes back? This is a dude that's been dealing with a lot of injuries. He's not getting any younger. I don't know where he fits in this team right now offensively. I don't see him having much of a role, if any, whenever he does return onto the field, if he even gets onto the field.
Right, yeah. I was watching, someone had posted a video on Facebook from, I think, the 2017 game where we kind of shellacked the Cowboys and just wiped them out. And just watching Alshon's highlights in that game, because it was just quick highlights and there was a lot of Alshon Jeffrey. And it reminded me of how Fulgham is right now, how Carson doesn't need to put it right on the money. He doesn't need to be right in the square of the chest. He's not throwing at a small guy. A lot of the throws I watched Carson do to Alshon were plays where Alshon had to actually reach out and get the ball and everything like that with his big catch radius. And that's what you're getting with Travis. Travis, he has a chip on his shoulder. He's trying to prove that he belongs in this league, and he's earning that right now. The guy has pretty good numbers. He almost has 400 yards in the 3 games he's played, 3-4 games he's played. And, I mean, for all I know, he's on track to be our first 1,000-yard receiver since Jeremy Maclin back in 2014. I mean, that's a long time, 6 years, and we haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver. So, I mean, it's tough. I don't – like, if Alshon, I hope that Alshon's like a team player and he's really like maybe talking to Fulgham and like maybe coaching him a little bit. I don't know. I doubt it. I feel like he's kind of checked out of Philly, but I don't see Alshon being the starter. You can't take that away from Travis. You can't take away that chemistry that him and Wentz are developing. Like Wentz is throwing the ball across the field, not smart, by the way, to Travis because he trusts that maybe he'll come down with it. If not, he'll knock it down or something. He's gaining that trust with him that he's just going to launch it up. In the Ravens game, he just launched it up. And yeah, there was 0 blitz, but I mean, there was still 2 guys right there. So he's just giving trust to this kid. And we can't just dump him to the wayside because Alshon Jeffrey, his foot's better and he wants to be out there.
Yeah, no, I love Alshon Jeffrey for the heart that he showed in 2017, but it is now 2020. So it's time for us to – next year he's not going to be here at the end of the day. I mean, there's probably maybe a 10% chance that they figure something out and he stays. I just don't see it money-wise that he can stay in Philly. So let's look at what we have. These wide receivers have shown that they can play. You know what I'm saying? So, and obviously Travis Fulgham has shown more than capable to play. He's going against some of the better defensive cornerbacks in the league already. So, and that's really off of no reps with Carson. So just imagine when the rapport gets better and better. So I'm very excited about Travis Fulgham as being, or Fulgham, whatever you want to say, as the number 1 receiver going forward. You know, to kind of keep on what Alshon, I just don't see a spot for Alshon. I could see him rotate with Greg Ward maybe, just to try and get some value out of Alshon, just so people could see he still can run and catch, and maybe drum up some trade value over this week. But other than that, I just, you know, like I said, like you guys said, I think we have the talent in the building to grow with. Before we get into the next topic, I want to shout out Alan Austin real quick. Says, "What's good, guys? First timer from Bangor, Maine." And I only know that because I used to live in Maine. But what I'm looking for versus Dallas is, can we get a complete game in? No turnovers. We got to work on catches, got to stop forcing passes, and we got to get the run game going. I 100% agree. What do you guys think as far as, and let's tie this in with Doug Peterson's play calling. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel Doug can shape this game? And how do you think we can be a better team with no mistakes? And shout out to Alan Austin.
You want me to start?
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right. So I've been there's been a lot of criticism with Doug Peterson, and I agree with the complete game. And it's really tough to put a complete game together when you look at all the injuries and the run game factor. I know there's a lot of fans, establish the run the ball, you know. It's only a bad play call in a lot of fans' minds when the play doesn't work, right? Like, you have to understand, sometimes you have to set up a play with a 1-yard gain or an incomplete pass, and that's setting up a play for Doug later in the game. Like, it's chess, it's not checkers when you're making play calls in the NFL. But the offensive line, you look at all the struggles and all the injuries that it's had a lot of up and downs when it's come to run blocking, right? They haven't been too bad in pass block. I know they've gotten some guys by them and they've been hitting Carson a little bit, but run blocking has been a little bit of an issue for them. And then you don't have Miles Sanders. Can Boston Scott really be that bell cow carrying the rock more than 12 to 15 times a game? I don't know if Doug even wants to do that. So then you have to get creative in those pass plays that are sort of like runs. So if they don't have Miles Sanders on Sunday night and then Jason Peters, I don't know what type of JP we're going to get. Jordan Mailata has actually looked pretty good in that spot. Nate Herbig has actually looked pretty good when he's been healthy and able to play. So there has been some nice surprises. But I don't know about running the rock with Boston Scott 18, 20 times a game. I just don't think that's possible. So we'll see how Doug's able to get creative with his play calling and get the ball out of Carson's hands quick for maybe 2 to 5 yard gains that can be considered run plays.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if we can get Rager back, I mean, I don't want to rush him back because I want him to be healthy for the rest of the season. But if we can get these speed guys, and everyone says the screen game is the extension of the run game. So maybe we can work on more screens, work on some wide receiver screens, getting it out quick out of Carson's hand and allowing their defense, with the Cowboys defense, their pursuit and tackling has not been good this year at all. Their tackling and pursuit has been terrible. I mean, look at that Odell Beckham Jr. play where this dude was maybe like 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage and still somehow ran his way up all the way up the field for a touchdown. So I hear you about not running Boston Scott, and I agree. Like, we can't run him 20 times. But if we're going to establish any kind of run game this season, it's against the Cowboys. They've let almost every team rush their minds out. Like, I think the Browns had like 300 yards. Antonio Gibson and the Washington team had the most they've had all season. Like, if there's a game to establish the run, this could be it. I wish Miles was healthy. Hopefully maybe he's out there. But like I said, we have to bye next week. I don't want to rush him back for this game if we can hold out 2 weeks and have him be healthy the week after against the Giants. But yeah, running the ball is obviously, but you're right. We got to set it up. We got to get those pass plays set up. And there's a method to the madness. And when things are clicking and things are looking good and we're getting the yards and we're getting points, and at the end of the day, none of us are going to really complain about the run game unless Carson's throwing interceptions and we're throwing the ball 10 times in a row and it ain't working.
Yeah, I mean, I've been one of those people, just hitting the bell for the run game to go because I just want to see Miles Sanders eat. But the other two haven't really been viable options in the run game, so it does definitely hurt. And then obviously losing Miles, it hurts. But seeing Carson even run the ball a little bit, it just adds. It makes the defense a little bit more honest, and I can see where people want that to happen because otherwise they're just coming right after Carson, and that offensive line is just it's showing signs of improvement in certain areas, but altogether it's just not there yet. I wanted to read this question that my boy asked. Shout out to Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. He says, Philly, I have a question for everyone. What do you think Fulgham, Rager, and Greg? What do you think about, I'm assuming, Greg in the slot? Greg is our fourth down receiver. Hightower has played through his rookie mistakes. I love them. I think we have some great wide receivers for the future. I know we've kind of dwelled on Travis Fulgham, but what do you guys think about the other guys? Jalen Rager, we haven't been able to see too much of, but John Hightower has, like he said, played through some rookie mistakes, made some big plays. What are your feelings about them?
I'm not so I love the big plays from Hightower. He's had 2 big plays. I think the 50-yard reception and then a 40-yard reception. But he still has a lot of work to do. I like putting him out on the outside, on the other side from Fulgham there throughout a game. But can he be a legitimate wide receiver from start to finish in an NFL game? I think he still has a lot of work to do. You put him out there for that big play potential, but his route running is not great. His hands certainly have not been great, inconsistent, I think is a kind way to put it. So Jalen Rager is going to be a very nice welcome back for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Greg Ward, you look at Greg Ward, he had a nice game against the Giants. And that's partly because of the success that we've seen from Travis Fulgham. You have teams zoning in on Travis now a little bit more. And Doug has to get creative with just moving the chains with Greg Ward. All of a sudden you have Jalen Rager on the other side. You have Hightower as kind of a flex option there to use him sparingly for maybe a deep threat or just to change up looks for the defense. So I'm not ready to give Hightower the keys to that number 2 spot or have him play a significant role, but you have to be pleased, I guess, with a couple of those big plays. But my biggest thing, guys, is how is Jalen Rager going to be incorporated into this offense, right? We've been talking about that right when he was drafted all the way up until week 1. Now he's been hurt. How are we going to see him make a big impact in this offense? We've seen the comparisons to Djax. I think he's not really a Djax, but he can be a guy that you line up in the backfield, in the slot, outside. How is Doug going to do that with the injuries on this offense? That's what I'm looking forward to see.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
With Jalen, I'm hoping that they really develop him as a wide receiver. I don't want to see him kind of being used as Golden Tate when we picked him up for half a season and just kind of using him to run screens, and that's about it. I feel like we used Golden Tate wrong and we didn't use him right. And Jalen Reagor is another smaller stature receiver that he'll run tough for sure, but he has the speed, he has the ability, and especially with good coaching, he has the ability to be one of our top receivers, run deep. We saw him get open twice against Washington. Granted, it was Washington, but we saw him get open twice. One Carson hit and one Carson overthrew. That could have been two huge completions. And he's pretty tough. I mean, the second game, right before he got hurt, he was catching balls over the middle. And I mean, one of them, he got hit pretty hard and he got right back up. So, I mean, he shows toughness. We just got to get some consistency and really get him out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at 2017, that idea that we had when we had Torrey Smith to kind of keep the people honest. And then we had Alshon, which I think Travis Fulgham is basically filling that role now. But I think he'll be used to keep the defenses honest, especially this early in his career. I would like to see him kind of doing what D Jackson was doing for us in the 2 games that he played. I mean, yeah, he went over the top, but he was also doing a lot of comeback routes, a lot of, ins, outs, a lot of slants, a lot of things to just use his speed and get the ball out of Carson's hands quick. So I think there's a number of ways we can utilize him. Right now, I just think it's going to be more to keep the defense honest until we see him kind of build that rapport with Wentz. Because that's really what I think the injury hampered the most is we didn't have a real offseason or preseason. So all these, reps, they matter. So I think right now we're just going to be using his speed, but I think it could change quick too. The kid showed that he has potential. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
yeah.
I know a lot of people are upset about, Justin Jefferson going crazy and this guy, that guy going crazy.
I'm one of them.
It sucks. Let me ask you, because it does suck seeing all these guys. What are your thoughts on Howie? Like overall?
That's a tough question. It's a good question, and it's a simple one, but he's brilliant in some facets of his job, and then he's a complete idiot in other facets of his job. This team, like you mentioned, the stat of not having a receiver since 2014 go over 1,000 yards, Jeremy Maclin, and this always takes a boatload of injuries for this organization to stumble upon the quote unquote next guy. It's like, oh, this guy can play. Oh, this guy can play. And it's like, well, what have you been doing in practice? How have you been evaluating your guys? So not only have they been failing in the draft, but they've been even just falling ass backwards into guys, and they don't even know what they have until they're forced to put them into a game situation. So as far as evaluating talent and getting young talent in, they've been absolutely terrible, and that's a concern moving forward. You look at this team, in a lot of areas, they're not getting any younger. They haven't been successful in the draft. The decisions and the roads they've kind of chosen to go down with who they pick in the draft and who they don't pick, it's a problem. It's a problem, and I think they need to get another guy in there. I'm not saying fire Howie, but they need someone that's an evaluator of talent to get young guys in here to grow for the future. I don't know who they have. Like Travis Fulgham, he wasn't even going to be on the field if it wasn't for all these injuries, and that he would have been rotting on the bench through the first 7 weeks of the season. That's not okay.
If not on the practice squad and scooped up by somebody else.
Right.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough because money-wise, granted, we have to wait till next year to really see how he is handling the cap. The last couple of years, he looked like a genius, and he's been able to move things around, restructure deals. But we're looking into some serious trouble next year if we don't restructure more deals. I don't know if anyone else is really going to. I mean, who's really hurting our cap a lot? I mean, I know Alshon has a big number. Wentz obviously has a big number. Brandon Brooks. I mean, Brandon Brooks is one of the best guards in the league when healthy. But maybe he restructures because he hasn't been. I mean, you got to hope for these things. Yeah. But you're right. We're not bringing in the talent. We're not bringing, like, we're trading for guys. Like last year, we trade for Jannard Avery. And he looked good a couple of games ago, and then I haven't really seen him since. So it's just like, what are we getting the worth out of these trades? The Golden Tate trade, that was terrible. We didn't use him right at all. That was a waste of a 3rd-round pick. And then, I mean, Jay Ajayi was a good one because obviously that helped us out with the run game. So I mean, just to piggyback for Joe, when you go ahead and answer this, can he make up for this by trading for someone good like an Avery Williamson or one of these linebackers that are on the wire and all that?
Honestly, at this point, to answer first, Howie, like you, I totally agree with what you said, Ryan. I feel like he needs to put someone in place that is better at what he's lacking at. You know what I'm saying? So to piggyback on that and answer your question, Brandon, he needs to, if he wants to get my trust again, be accountable. Hold himself accountable. I need to hear from this team that, listen, what we did, what we're doing is not working. So we are going to change what we are doing. Not this, we just need to be better. We need to, execute. We need to do this. No, we are lacking in a lot of areas. And don't get me wrong, the injuries, it's really hard to put that on anyone. Obviously you look at the medical staff, obviously, there's a lot of fingers to point in a lot of different directions. But as far as Howie being like the top guy, other than Lurie, obviously, making decisions wise, you need to be honest and be like, listen, I messed up. This is what we're going to do moving forward. And like Ryan said, if that's bringing in someone that evaluates the talent, if that's bringing in an offensive coordinator or saying we need someone like Frank Reich again, I just need to see some type of accountability, because I feel like throughout this year, you have not seen that, whether it's in a press conference, whether it's on the field. You don't really see anyone taking responsibility, and maybe I'm reading too deep into it, but that's just kind of how it feels. I understand. Like I said, injuries happen and it's part of the game, but we weren't this team last year. This is what makes us different from teams like the Cowboys. If we were in the Cowboys situation and they started tanking, obviously tanking like they are, Eagles fans would be rioting. I don't care who's on that field. I don't care if it's Nate Sudfeld. We would be rioting. If we are not mathematically out of the playoffs, you go out there and you play and you put out the best team that you can. So that's my opinion on that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Getting upset about it. I'm getting all ruffled up.
No, you're good. You're good. I like it. I want to ask you guys your thoughts on, since you bring up Howie, I want to ask you both your thoughts on Jim Schwartz.
Oh boy.
Ooh,
Joe's about to get.
I was about to get into that next. Go ahead, Brandon. I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Schwartz, I think it's tough because, yes, we've had some injuries, but in the defense, besides like what, Maddox and like some rookies, we haven't really had too many major injuries on the defense. So that should be our strong suit. And yet we're letting up all these points every game. I mean, granted, we played well against the Giants, but then we let Daniel Jones, if he was a little bit more athletic, that's an easy touchdown. That would have been concerning. I'm glad he's gotten away from the sticks defense. That's always nice. That was one of my pet peeves, and I haven't seen it much lately. But I need to see him be more aggressive. I was kind of on the train of like, let's get rid of him. He's messing all this up. He's not getting people in the right position. But then you hear things, once they're going to bring his name up, Howie Roseman, where maybe he's going to Howie and saying, we need to draft a linebacker. We need to draft a safety. But then Howie goes, nah, dog, quarterback.
Facts, bro.
So, it's conflicting. It's hard. It's tough because we want to see some kind of change, because we were down in the dumps a couple weeks ago. We still kind of are. We still have to build up and kind of gain some trust in this team. But we were looking for someone to kind of put the blame on, and it kind of looked easy on the defense at the time, and Jim Schwartz and his play calling. And it doesn't help with Nathan Gary out there because we're not getting these rookies in. Bradley looks like a tackling machine. He comes in and he's tackling around. So it's just like, why not get these rookies and younger guys in? If we're going to make the mistakes, at least let them practice and get those mistakes in. And those are learning moments. From a guy that keeps making mistakes and not learning from them, we're wasting time and talent there. So, that's my kind of like thing on Jim Schwartz. I don't know if it's only up to him with those decisions, but in my eyes, for what a defensive coordinator, that's what they get paid to do, to make those decisions, to put people in the right place.
Whew, all right, let me catch my breath because, Jim Schwartz, I am not a fan of Jim Schwartz at all, to be honest with you. And if he is not making these decisions and it's, Howie, which I personally, I can't buy it. I'm sorry. Like, Howie came to the team because he can make decisions. I feel like that was kind of the whole allure. is that he knew that he was going to get the whole defense. So for that to just change out of nowhere, especially for it to be Howie making decisions like that, I think there's more to it. I'm not going to say it's not true. I'm just going to say I feel like there's more going on with
Some
that.
holes in that story.
Exactly. I feel
Swiss
like the
cheese.
whole story is not being told. But I feel like Jim Schwartz is not making the most out of what he has gotten. I feel like he's gotten more money put into that defense than Carson Wentz has gotten putting around him. You know what I'm saying? We're not putting big money around. We're not getting a Darius Slay on the offense. You know what I'm saying? So, and we have about like $7 billion invested in that defensive line. You got what you want, Jim Schwartz. I'm sorry. And even if Howie said, we're not going to get you a linebacker, yeah, it's a dumb move by Howie, but man, we got you a lot, Howie. Like, we got you a lot. I mean, Jim, over the offseason, we put a lot into that defense, more than we've done in a long time, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? You got Will Parks, you got Darius Slay, you got Kayvon, when you got Davon Taylor, who hasn't seen the field. You have people that we gave you players, man. Like, I need to see something. Javon Hargrave. Like, our defense has been terrible. And if anything that would have been good, at least give me a good run defense, and that's been terrible. At least on our standards. So for me, I think Jim Schwartz is just an old dog that's not going to learn any new tricks. I think it's time for us to move on and learn, find someone a little bit more up to speed with the pass first offense that we have now. But yeah, that's my opinion on that. He says $7 billion on the defense. None of it is going to the linebackers. It's literally all going to that defensive line. This is actually interesting. Eagles Champ 1, shout out to you. They do videos as well, so go check them out. Derek Barnett is getting interest from AFC East teams. That would be interesting. What would you guys? I mean, it's kind of off the cuff question, but is there anybody on this team that you would kind of want to see traded that you think is maybe an unpopular opinion?
I mean, I guess just to go piggyback off the Derek Barnett, it's tough because you got a guy like Brandon Graham, and he's under the radar, killing it this season. Like, this guy with sacks, quarterback hits, tackles, like this dude, he's top 10 right now, and he's under the radar, killing it. But he's getting older. We only have him on a 1-year deal. Maybe we can get him on another year deal if he still feels like he can play. So eventually he's going to retire. So do you try to trade a guy like Derek Barnett that, I mean, at times he looks good. At times it's just like, oh, you're a first round pick. What are you doing? He does tend to get penalties here and there. Just like hitting people late and everything like that. But can we really, if we're going to end up losing Malik Jackson at some point, because we're not going to be able to afford him, Fletcher Cox is only getting older, Brandon Graham's getting older. So, I mean, we're going to have to keep some of these younger guys and end up paying somebody. If it's Josh Sweat, if it's Derek Barnett, we're going to have to end up keeping them. There's no way that we can just pawn them off right now, especially with people getting older. But a surprise person, I mean, I guess the biggest surprise that's not really a surprise anymore would have been Zach Ertz. The fact that we were getting offers from like the Ravens and I forgot the other team. Green Bay. Yeah, the fact that we're getting offers and then he gets hurt and it sucks. But that was a player. If you asked me a year ago, we were going to trade Zach Ertz. I said, nah, that ain't happening. We would have the dynamic duo of Goddard and Ertz. And now it's just kind of like, well, maybe we're just going to go with Goddard and some guys.
Yeah, facts.
So I guess that's my biggest surprise so far.
Yeah, I don't think Ertz is going to be here next year. I know that's not answering that question specifically. I don't think the Eagles are going to trade Derek Barnett in the near future. I think they're too, I don't know, stubborn maybe with him. He's a first-round pick. They want to keep him around a little bit longer and see what he's able to provide. So I'm not against the potential move, but I don't see that. If you're asking me if it's going to happen, I don't see that happening. And just as far as Zach Ertz goes, I don't think he's going to be an Eagle next year.
Yeah, now Zach Ertz is one of those. It's going to be, I feel like next year is going to be one of those like in the arms of an angel type commercials where you're just watching all your Eagles favorites going because it's, it's sad. It sucks. Like Drew Anderson said, I think he hit it on the head with, because of the cap, I say, but let the young guys play instead of bringing in older players. So that begs the question: is the future now? And I kind of want to ask you this real quick because we just found out today that Jason Peters is going to be starting at left tackle again. Wasn't the best left tackle in the beginning of the year. Jordan Mailata was doing well. Jordan Mailata will be moving over to right tackle. What do you guys think of that? Would you have made that move? Because me personally, I would have kept Jordan Mailata at left tackle and put Peters back at right guard. I'm sure there's red tape involved, but what are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but the Eagles brought JP back. So once again, that's a decision that's, yeah, if you look at the film and if you look at what you see on the field, that makes sense. Just stick with Mailata. But you bring this guy back, you give him a couple more bucks in his pocket to do that, to play left tackle. So they're going to put him back on the field. I mean, I've been talking about JP getting older, I feel like, for the past 3 or 4 seasons. I mean, eventually, Father Time's going to win this battle. It's nothing against JP. He's not getting any younger. So this is it. I think this is what we're finally seeing this dude just slow down. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the GOATs at that position, but it's just been 2017. I was talking about him getting older. 2018, I was talking about it. Last year, I was talking about it. And here we are again talking about it. So I don't know how long he's going to be able to physically even last in that spot. They're going to put him back out there and see what he's able to do.
He'll be out by halftime.
Yeah, he'll be in the blue tent by the third quarter.
And that's my thing. Like, it's do you want to keep on changing it up? This is like what, our 7th
That's what I'm saying.
different offensive line. Like at this point, I know we paid JP back, or JP more, I should say. But take that loss, take that L, and this is where accountability comes in. We were wrong. Whatever. Jordan Mailata got it. We know that going forward. Let's not make it worse. Let's not compound it and change the offensive line again to try and make our mistake look better. You know what I'm saying? And that's just kind of where I get from that. But what are you thinking, Brandon?
Yeah, you got a guy in Jordan Mailata that has been playing solid. Like, yeah, he's had some mistakes, but this is new to him. Like, this is his first time actually getting real life reps. That's not preseason football or in practice. Even, I mean, he's been hurt at times when he first came on the team, or at least hurt because we don't really know. They put him on IR, but who knows? Maybe they just needed a roster spot and didn't want to lose him. But he's an experiment. So you have him practicing left tackle, and then you're going to be like, well, because JP's healthy, let's move him to right tackle. What if he sucks at right tackle? Because people say, like, it's like trying to write with your left hand if you're a righty to just move over there. And then you don't want to play him at left tackle again because he messed up at right tackle. I don't think that's a disservice to his development when he's doing okay and he's been able to get the reps in against really good defensive linemen and linebackers the last couple of weeks between the Steelers, Ravens, and some of the Giants players.
I will say this, and I hate to cut you off, but I will say this to the credit of my boy Chandler Jackson that we had on the channel the other day. He did say that we did have the project in mind of Jordan Mailata being a swing tackle. So he does have that experience of playing on the right side. But I do agree with you that if he has a couple bad snaps, people are going to be all
the
over
Washington game. Was he not moved to right tackle when everyone went down and it just looked terrible?
It wasn't that good.
Maybe if he gets to practice all week at right tackle and it's different. But
I
when
agree
he got
with
put
you.
at
Don't
right
get me
tackle
wrong.
week 1, he didn't look good. It looked like we were going to be in some deep stuff. So,
but yeah, I think we had something going last week. It wasn't the prettiest, you know what I'm saying? I felt like right guard was really the one spot we had to solidify, and I felt like if you put JP there and he was like better than Jamon Brown, that's all I could really ask for, to be honest. Now, I want to kind of get into this Cowboys a little bit, all right? The Cowboys meltdown, we'll call it. I want to know, we're all Eagles fans, so it's obviously beautiful from our end. But I've been hearing so many different people say, it's because of this, it's because of that. What do you think it really is? Obviously the injuries are why they're not playing well, but the leaks of the locker room, just it seems nobody really cares about each other out there. Where do you think that's stemming from?
It starts from the top. And I'll say this. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. Dak goes down. He's out for the year. He's getting carted off, crying. That sucks. You don't wish ill will upon anyone. They've been dealing with a lot. And I'll say this, you look at what they're dealing with, that's what the Eagles deal with every single year. And everyone knocks Doug Peterson at times, and it's Philly. We're going to knock anyone any chance we can get.
Exactly.
But I think you have to look at Dallas this year and say, damn, Doug does this and deals with this every single year. And fair or foul, say what you want, this team finds its way into the playoffs every single year. And it's not easy to deal with all this. And you see it in Dallas. They haven't dealt with it to this extent in recent seasons. Now they are. They have a new coach. He's not handling it well. The players haven't bought into what he's saying, what he's telling them to do scheme-wise, and they're collapsing. They're falling apart at the seams. So I just like to look at it like, damn, all right, you have to appreciate what we have in Philadelphia. I know it sucks. I know it's frustrating dealing with all these, controversial like injuries and stuff off the field, and it's always something in Philly. But Doug finds a way to keep that locker room together and focused, and they're at least resilient no matter what. If nothing else, this Philadelphia Eagles team every year is resilient. Dallas,
Facts.
They're not resilient, man, and they're just falling apart. They don't care about each other, and that starts at the top from Jerry to now Mike McCarthy, and I don't see McCarthy lasting more than this season.
Yeah, it's tough for them. I bet part of it's just they're trying to be like, whoa, we had COVID and we couldn't get the continuity in. And I had a feeling that this season I thought we were going to be doing better, but I figured that Washington, New York, and Dallas was going to have some struggles because they all had brand new head coaches. So you're getting new schemes, new plays, new voices, whereas at least us, we were going to have the continuity of having Doug and everything like that. But I don't even, like you said, it's hard to really feel bad for them when we've been dealing with this. We've been had our starting quarterback go out when we were playing well. We've had our starting quarterback go out again the next year. We've had major injuries to our top players, if it's the offensive line, if it was the linebackers, if it was in the defensive backs. Like, we've had these injuries on wide receiver. And so it's just to try to feel bad for them, I really don't. And then you got them, it kind of looks like they're selling house. That whole defensive line that they were so pumped up about with Joe McCoy injured, Griffin gone, Poe gone, like all these like people that they brought in. It's just like, what is going on over there? But they're all upset. They're all pissed off. They had expectations of playing well and probably being Super Bowl contenders because of their offense and how much firepower they have. Because at the end of the day, we can't knock the players on that list. Their offense should be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But now they got Ben DiNucci, so we got to just make sure they don't look good Sunday.
Exactly. Yeah, we can't make Ben DiNucci look like Tony Romo. Well, we can, because we made Tony Romo look dumb a couple times. But I mean, this is one of those games that a lot of people are going to say you have to win this game, and we do. But I think we've said it a bunch of times. Philly has to do it in a way that it's very convincing, that we seem that we're getting better. I want to see us get better. So last thing that we'll go over. I do this all the time now, Brandon, you see that it's a little bit different because we are terrible at predicting scores. Like, I tell you, and I feel like we're just bringing bad luck. So just a win or loss. If you want to throw a score prediction in there, you're more than welcome to. But, so what do you think is going to happen Sunday night?
I think it's going to be ugly as far as the Cowboys and what they're putting out there. They are really hurting, and I don't see them scoring more than 10 or 13 points. I think the Eagles are going to win with somewhat ease. It's just a matter of how it looks. I'll give a score prediction. I see the Eagles winning like 27-13. I think they end up winning by a couple scores, and that's just really because of everything going on in Dallas. I see Carson throwing a couple touchdowns. I see, a rushing touchdown, maybe even a pick six from the Eagles defense, because it's going to be that bad. From the Dallas side of things. So can it just look good? Can it, that progress that we're talking about, can we see them continue to make some progress? No stupid mistakes, no bad decisions by Carson that gives, Dallas the ball in good field position, anything like that. They can just take care of the ball, do what they need to do, and execute. They're going to win this game by a couple touchdowns minimum.
Yeah, we just have to execute. We got to play well. We got to start getting creative. I'm liking the Jalen Hurts plays. I don't need Carson out there for those plays. Some big chunk plays because they're letting everyone get big chunk plays. So why not us get some big chunk plays? And then the defensive line, I think, is the key. We got to harass Ben DiNucci. He needs to feel that pressure. He needs to get that welcome to the NFL moment. Maybe even if it's a hit like Malik Jackson put on Burrow, just to kind of scare him. Like nothing that's going to like injure him, but just kind of say like, welcome to the NFL. This is the Eagles Cowboys rivalry. Like this is a big week. This is Cowboys week. It's hopefully we're trending in the right direction, but dumpster teams right now. And hopefully it's a good game because at the end of the day, it's Eagles Cowboys. I always look forward to this. It's always a good time talking shit to a bunch of other people.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I just want to see a pure, just them crying, a bunch of sad statuses from all my Cowboy friends. It's going to be a beautiful day. But yeah, like we said, I want to see a total game, 4 quarters of just good play. No shooting yourself in the foot, nothing crazy. I'm going to give a score prediction because I like to live on
I didn't do that.
And I like to look dumb sometimes. Shout out to Allen Austin, 41-17. I can see that.
That'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 30-14. I think they'll get 2 touchdowns somehow because we're just gonna mess up.
They still got Zeke.
Yeah.
Zeke, if he plays the way that he plays against us, he typically has a good game against the Eagles. They still have Zeke. So
maybe
linebackers aren't the best. So that could be the 2 tubs right there.
I'm trying to be, realistic. So I
like the pick six. I think we should be able to get some interceptions, at least one. Like we should be able to get that, or a fumble recovery or something. We should get at least one turnover this game. The score prediction, you said 27. I'll go, and you said 30. I'll go 24-10.
Okay. I don't like your score prediction. I'm not gonna
got some basic score prediction. I try to say good things of following the last couple weeks, and they don't work. So
yeah, no, I feel you. But either way, hey Ryan, I appreciate you coming on here, chopping it up with us, man. It was a lot of fun. We'll definitely do this again, man. Like I said, this was a lot of fun. But everybody that's in here still, man, thank you so much. Please hit that like button. If you are new, like Allen Austin, please hit that subscribe button because you see I gave him a lot of love today. So, but either way, man, Eagles has landed. Shout out to you. But yeah, either way, man, you guys know what time it is. It's Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here.